Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Wooten Stories and More. And Wooten is spelled Woeton. And I think I have a cute, nice little story for you today. It starts this way. I am an addict. I am an addict. Oh, not to drugs. I'm an addict to collecting old books. And I'm always looking for and hoping to find a treasure, a valuable book among these old books. My wife knew this when we got married. In fact, our second bedroom was full of my books. I had built bookshelves all around the four walls. And in the middle, I had boxes of books. And I would bring home more books, and she'd kind of complain. And then as we got, you know, started our budget things, which we, had more expenses as a couple, uh, she kind of hinted that I had to stop collecting books. I didn't like that. So I kind of arranged a little bit of off the book overtime to get some money that she didn't know about that kind of helped. But the problem didn't go away. Then she announced that we were going to have our first child. I was happy until she mentioned that library has got to go. I kind of argued against it, and then time progressed. I still was bringing books home, and we were still arguing back and forth. And then I went to the hospital, and there was my newborn baby, and I held him in my arms. Oh gosh, it was so wonderful. If that baby could have talked, I would have given anything he wanted. I never felt something so precious to me. So my books went out, but not the ones on the wall, just the boxes, and we made it into a nursery. And my wife still complained that when she'd bring her friends over to see our child, she'd say, "It's the only nursery that I know of that has four walls full of books." But well, okay. I kept collecting books, and obviously with a child, our expenses were even worse than before. And she really started complaining. Rightly so, because she had bills to pay that were necessary for our child and her and things like that. But then I came up with this idea. I invented this character, Ichabod Axel. And I told her that he was an old businessman who was retiring and he was giving me free books. Meantime, I got this off the clock overtime hours, and I was bringing home the books. And I made sure when I brought the books home, I would bring some home for her. And she started liking her books, the ones I brought for her. In fact, they even helped us a little on our budget because she'd pick up tips and things like that. So one day out of the blue, which I couldn't, she says, "Say," as I was going to work, "say hi to Alex, Ichabod Alex." I started to say, "Who?" And then it dawned on me, Ichabod was the name I made up. Oh, yes, I'll say hi to him. And a couple weeks later, she said, "Bring him over for dinner, him and his wife." And I said, "Well, no, he's ill. I'm sure of that. I talked to him the other day, and he told me he was ill." Well, About this time, I got more good news. I was going to have, or we were going to have, our second child. So as things progressed, and I still was bringing home the books, some for her, and a lot for me, and things were a little better. She's one day out of the blue says, "Well, our next child's going to be a boy also, and I'm going to call him Ichabod Axel Jones." That Jones was our last name. Oh my God. Ichabod, the last name in the world I'd want to name any child. Why did I think of that name? What did just popped into my head? And so I thought, what am I going to do to stop this? So I came home one day with flowers and candy, and I was going to talk to her about Ichabod and kind of explain things. And that's when she says, she looked right at me. "You know, I love you, but I know you're not the romantic type. And so when you come home with these flowers and things, there's something up. What is it?" "Well, you see," and I finally explained it. And she was mad. And the only reason she didn't keep mad was that she realized that she was getting books in there that she liked. So we continued, and everything was fine, and we agreed to call the child Oliver after a famous character in a famous book. And things were going fine, and I made sure that every time I got books for her. In fact, I increased the allocation for her. Thank you very much.